It just rained quite a bit where I live, and it was basically thunderstorming. Even in some areas of my city, there was actually hail. Some of my coworkers were actually telling me about it. And now I look outside and it's complete sunshine. It's actually pretty nice outside. And this happens quite often in where I live. The weather is actually pretty bipolar if you think about it. But it reminded me of this one quote that I heard. Now, I'm Muslim, so I hold the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, and his companions in very high regard. And in one of these videos that I was actually watching, I heard an Islamic speaker saying that the Sahaba, or the companions of the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, they used to say whenever they were afflicted with a tribulation or a trial or a hardship throughout their life, they would just say, it's a cloud, it's going to pass. And that is the mentality that they always took upon themselves throughout this entire life. And I think that that benefits a lot of us. You see, whenever we're going through things, we think that there's absolutely no end in sight. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. And in their mentality, they were just always thinking about, okay, cool, I have this trial in my life that is happening, but it's just a cloud and it's going to pass as well. And just like it was raining right now for me, and it was raining like all morning, to be honest with you. It was raining for about like 6 or 7 hours straight, and now it's just completely clear skies. I can actually see the blue sky. Matter of fact, this video is actually being recorded with no artificial light. This is just all the sunlight that I'm getting from my windows. But the moral of the story is that everything that you are facing in this life is exactly like a cloud, and one day or another it is going to pass. Even if you live in a city like Seattle, where it's just raining constantly all the time, you're probably still going to have little bits of sunshine actually come through, and that is just life in general. And that brings me to another story that I actually want to mention. I don't know the origins of the story itself, but I do think that it is very important that we take it into account. The story goes, there's this king once upon a time, and he was looking for a lot of advice. So he consulted with this wise man, and he basically told him that, hey, I want you to tell me something that I can get inscribed on a ring that will bring me down whenever I feel too high on my supply, essentially humble me in times of like great prosperity, and also something that will uplift me when I'm going through something and when I just have some hardship as well. So the wise man goes and he starts thinking about it, and a few days later he comes back to the king and he says to him, I found something. And the statement was, this too shall pass. And the king then went ahead and got that phrase inscribed in his ring. So whenever the king actually was going through a ton of prosperity and a ton of good times throughout his kingdom, and maybe even in his personal life, he just looked at the ring and he said, this too shall pass. So he always humbled himself, and he was always grateful that, hey, I should take and make the most of this moment, because it is eventually going to pass, and I should appreciate it while it's actually still here. And whenever he would actually face some hardship, he would just look at his ring and he'll see, this too shall pass. So he always knew that whatever he was going through, it was going to pass regardless. So he didn't have to worry too much about it, because he knew that it was only here for a temporary period of time. And I think that that is an important perspective that we all need, because we end up thinking that the hardships that are here currently and presently in our lives, they're here to stay forever. And sometimes, very few times, that might be the case. Whenever, you kind of lose a loved one, you can't really bring them back. But for a lot of other cases and majority of cases, I do think that everything that we are going through is just a temporary issue. It is going to pass like a cloud, and we are eventually going to get back up from this hardship, because that hardship is not going to last forever. So make sure you always have that perspective in mind, that any hardship that you're going through, it's just like a cloud. It's going to pass. And remember, any happiness that you're going through right now, just remember to appreciate it in the moment that you have, because that too will pass. Anyways, guys, that was episode number 89 of the Daily Lessons podcast. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye, guys.